comedy. Welcome to Moving Mind Studio. I am Ryan here with Sam and Brandon, and today we're talking about crying in movies.
Wow.
So, crying during movies. Have you guys ever cried during a movie or TV show?
I like once a week.
I feel like you can.
I'm a crier.
You are a crier.
You're a crier?
I'm a crier.
Once a week, like, naturally? Or how many movies do you watch in a week?
I'll sit in my room and just cry for no reason.
Just think about life.
Yeah, exactly. What was the question?
Have you ever cried?
Have I ever cried? Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, I have cried. Yes, many times.
Have you cried during a movie?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. I don't know. Some people.
Have you cried during a movie?
No.
You've never cried during a
No,
movie?
I've cried during a movie.
Yeah.
I have cried during a movie. What is? Yes.
Question: what is
Crying?
like? Does crying is that like just tears? Or
Are you a
like,
robot?
Yeah. What is crying?
What are tears?
Like, is it like tearing or like really like crying?
No, not like I wouldn't say like weeping.
Okay, but like tear.
A tear counts as crying
Okay.
in my
A tear.
books.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
If there's even
there's fluids that coming from your eye, then that's
even like watery eyed counts in
That's-
some way.
okay.
You feel when
Okay.
you're about to
Yeah,
cry,
yeah,
too.
yeah.
So
Yeah, of
even if you
course.
just
Yeah,
get
you're
that
holding
feeling,
back,
like in
of
your...
course.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what would you guys say is the movie or the moment in a TV show or whatever that made you cry the most or tear up the most, depending how far you've gotten?
The most for me, because like I said, I cry a lot during movies. I have a problem. The most for me has to be 7 pounds, I think. 7 pounds.
I've never seen that.
You've never seen 7 pounds? Wow.
I saw 6
I
pounds.
have seen it, but
You didn't really? For me, I don't know what it was, but 7 pounds made me cry a lot. And it's funny, I was watching it with my girlfriend, and it's the first time I've ever seen someone actually weep.
Really?
Like not just tears, like literally
Breakdown.
like you know when you were a kid and you're like
Yeah.
and you cried like like literally
Yeah.
like that like
Really?
credits are rolling and she's like
So we know it's at the end.
yeah I mean it depends. I mean like there's different moments in the movie, but for some reason it made her do that. But for me too, I was just like, oh my gosh, it really got to me. And for those of you who've seen it, I guess I won't spoil it, although it came out like
I
10
haven't
years
seen
ago.
it, so I will
Yeah.
guess the ending, and we'll assume it's that.
Yeah, exactly.
So Will Smith plays a character named
Yep.
7 pounds, and he dies.
Yeah, at the end of it, he loses 7
he
pounds. and
keeps
that's
losing
it.
weight during
Exactly.
the movie and only weighs 7 pounds.
Like a Benjamin Button.
Every 30 minutes, he loses 1 pound.
I actually
Well-
realized I haven't seen it. I've watched Pursuit of Happiness,
Oh,
not
okay.
7 pounds.
That made me tear too, but 7 pounds was good. I won't give it away, but there's a scene at the end where it all comes together and you realize why he's doing what he's doing. I
Oh.
won't give it away. You don't know what he's doing until the end of the movie, and you're like, oh. And there's like a scene. It's funny because it's kind of like a corny rain scene, but I mean you've seen it all the time. But there was something about to that buildup that was just like got to me so bad. I mean that was a movie that made me cry the most. I mean, could I name another one? I'll be really quick.
Yeah.
Was Lion King. Lion King, like that was my first
in
Papa. Like,
1995, you cried?
I still cry today if I watch it.
Really?
Of course, the scene in the you know. What
Does he
I'm
say
talking
Papa
about.
or is that Fievel?
No, that's fine.
Papa.
No, he's
No,
like
I think he says
help
dad.
anybody, somebody.
Papa is when after he dies.
Yeah.
And he,
Oh. Yeah,
like,
he
he
does.
goes
Yeah,
down.
yeah,
He's
yeah.
like, Papa?
Yeah,
And he's like trying to hit him and all that.
That gets me, man. But anyways, yeah.
And then Scar is like, you did this. Jeremy Irons. Yeah, that's
You did this.
we didn't have a volume control, so we had to make our own voices on TV.
I sound like the
I'm
gadget
trying to,
guy.
I was trying to think, and I had an answer, but then I found an even like further one.
Yeah.
The movie I cried probably the most during was Gremlins.
What?
Really?
I've
Yeah.
also never seen that.
I've
So
seen,
Gremlins
like-
is more like, scary
Yeah,
movie and all that. There's a scene where, like, honestly, when I rewatch it, I start laughing because I know that I cried when I was a kid a lot.
yeah.
But they like put Gizmo behind like a ventilation and like kind of imprison him, and he like puts his hands around the like thing and just like walks up. But he looks cute, right? He's got the big eyes, and it's just like the very cutesy look, and then he's like sad, and all of a sudden, and I started crying as a kid.
Does he die or something?
No, he gets out like 3 minutes later.
Oh, he's just like mildly inconvenienced.
Yeah, they just like the bad guy like
It's like a
puts him
door
there.
right next to him. He's like, oh, okay.
But I think it was just like the way the animatronics were on his face and all
so
that
cute,
it got to me.
Yeah.
I think that was more like just like seeing him sad made me
I
sad.
get that.
But then like emotionally sad was probably Homeward Bound.
Oh.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, my heartstring just went like...
Yeah, like, oh, remember me. Yeah.
Like the first time I watched Homeward Bound, and you're
Yeah.
like, these animals have been working so hard to get back, and then when like you don't know if that last guy
Shadow.
you don't know if Shadow came back.
Why are you doing this to me? You're bringing
And
everything
then
back.
all of a sudden,
oh my God.
like there's barking, and like the one
Yeah.
kid, like that was his animal,
Yeah,
right? And like
yeah.
he realizes,
Shadow.
you see him like,
Yeah.
oh, mine didn't make it,
Yeah.
And then...
and then all of a sudden he comes back, and
Why
it's
did
like,
you just do that? I don't even want to finish this podcast, man. It's like,
That's so great.
Oh my God,
in Homeward
yeah.
Bound, that moment where Shadow is stuck in the mud pit and Chance
Oh,
is
yeah.
like, no, come on. He's like,
Yeah.
I'm too old.
Yeah.
Heartstrings.
Yep.
I forgot about that.
Okay. I'm about to ruin a moment for you guys. I don't know if it's actually Homeward Bound that had a problem too, but there's a lot of movies you don't realize when you're young when they're animals and the whole movie's based around animals. There's a few movies that came out recently that they actually like killed some of the animals and put them through like abuse and whatnot. And like there's a scene in, I can't remember what movie it is, but there's a cat that flies off a cliff. But as your kid, you're like, oh, this is just a crazy scene or whatever. And it came out a few years ago that they were actually just literally chucking these. Yeah. I don't know. I won't say that Homeward Bound is. I'm going to search that and see. But there's a lot of movies that came out during that era where they were doing movies with animals and they did a lot of crazy things and like abused animals, killed animals.
wait,
Yeah.
what are you talking about in Homeward Bound that would have been?
I don't.
Like, the porcupine?
that's why I don't remember.
Well, like
I
Sassy
don't like.
jumps off a cliff, like a waterfall. Or something. Sassy the cat.
Yeah.
And you don't think about that, but now you're like, oh my God, how did that cat do that? And like chucked the cat. I'm not saying that Homeward Bound did it. I'm just saying that
Interesting.
I'm gonna look into it.
We'll get
Maybe
back
guys-
to you
yeah,
and let you
yeah.
know if this
I
is
figured
real
that
or
out the
not.
other day, and I was like, oh my gosh, sorry, I interrupted.
Did you?
What about you? Didn't say yours.
No, I didn't. I'd have to say probably the one that made me realize that I could cry, that a movie could make me cry is Green Mile.
Oh,
That made me cry.
Yep.
That was like,
yeah.
That made
That-
my tear ducts roll too.
that was such a good buildup of like, oh, he's so nice, and like, oh, everyone's so mean to him, and then like, spoiler alert, it doesn't go well for him.
Yeah.
And
he's
it's also finding out that like he's innocent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you know he's
Yeah.
innocent and they can't do
Yeah.
anything
and you're just
about
like,
it.
oh no, he's
That
like,
was-
give me
yeah.
your hands, boss.
Yeah.
So
That was good, man.
it was a great movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
Why you
like
guys
I was like,
doing
what
that?
is happening?
Yeah, look, this liquid's coming out of my eyes.
What
Yeah.
what is it that gets you guys to that place, especially you, since it happens so often?
Yeah, I do.
like what brings you there to the point of tears?
For me, it has to be a good story. Like it's not just like something like the movie's not that great. Something happens and it's supposed to make you cry, then I'm crying. It has to be like something that really builds up well from the beginning, and then gets me there, and then I'm like, okay, I'm crying. Like 7 Pounds for me was like, they really did a really good. I mean, it was really good how they built up the character to get to that point, and then you realize he's doing all these things, and you realize why he's doing it, and then for some reason that just got to me, and then I don't know, Lion King was Lion King. It was just amazing. So for it just has to be a good story for me.
A good build up.
A good build up.
And
for
it
me
just
to
like
cry.
the payoff is crying.
It's good, yeah.
Crying. I feel like as I'm getting older, it's easier to make me
to
get more
cry.
emotional.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that.
Because
Yeah.
I can
relate.
maybe
more.
because I'm relating to
I think you
different
can
things, and
relate
I'm just
more,
like,
yeah.
and it's making me feel more emotional. But
Yeah.
like when I was a teenager, like nothing.
yeah.
I was like,
But I
no,
also
this
think
isn't-
when you're a teenager, you're putting on a front too. You're just like, I'm tough. I don't even cry at these things.
But I'm I'm coming
Yeah.
from a personal side of things where it's like even when I was a teenager, like you cut through that bullshit and like
Yeah.
seeing what it actually was. There were like it was hard for me to get like emotional and cry.
Yeah.
But today, Like a lot of stuff makes me tear up, and and it makes me realize like, wait, why am I tearing up? I just recently, it was like 3 days ago, I didn't like shed a tear, but I had that feeling where my eyes were watering. It was like the Tim Allen show, Last Man Standing.
What? What? Explain.
And there was
please.
like, well, one of his daughters was like cheating. She had to write an essay to go into college, and then she gets the help of her sister. And she makes her sister like write the full essay, and then the parents get angry at her, and she's like, "You're like no," because they say that the daughter's dumb, and like you didn't write this. It's obvious that it was your sister because it's your sister's favorite book. Anyway, at the end of the episode, they're like, "Did you write your essay?" She's like, "Yeah, I already handed it in." And then they go to read it, and they start reading it, and then it talks about her like biggest hero is her sister.
Oh, okay.
And then they like cut, but what's even more, that would have been okay, but then they cut to like the daughter because she said bye and she left, but then she was still like listening in and watching her parents read it, and she just had like the smile on her face, and I was like, that was a nice ending to the show, and I started getting emotional, and I was like, and then it ended, and I was like, why was I emotional during a Tim Allen sitcom?
That happened to me too, like pretty similar moment during Modern Family when the daughter is like dating what's his name, Jason Mantzoukas, I think the actor's name is. He's like a real scumbag in the show, and the parents are like going along with it because the mom is like, oh, she'll trust me, I was her age, she's gonna date this douchebag and she's gonna realize and whatever, and she goes along with it, and then like they have like dual elevators, and then the dad comes out from one and the daughter's in the other, and he's like yelling at his wife. He's like, she's my daughter, I care about her, and he doesn't know she's standing there, and I was like,
with Dylan, when she's dating Dylan, is that it?
No, she's like not Dylan is like the guitar dude, right?
Yeah, the like
she's dating like a really older guy who's like really creepy and making sexual comments and stuff, and both parents are pretending to be like, oh, we're cool with it, and the daughter comes back and she's like, how are you cool with this? Like, I thought you loved me, and the dad like comes out and interrupts her but doesn't see her. Anyway,
I think that's a good formula too. Going back to you asking me like, what makes you cry? I think when a show is mainly a comedy show and they have that one like episode, I think that's, for some reason, that gets to you because like, oh, these are real characters, they really feel emotions. And that brings me back to that Fresh Prince of Bel-Air episode
with his dad.
Oh my god,
dad speech.
I'm not even kidding, I'm getting chills just even talk. This is how emotionally weird I'm getting chills talking about
Will Smith makes you cry.
Yeah, he does, he really does. Yeah, and that's just what it is.
Did you cry in Suicide Squad?
Actually, yeah, I cried because it was so terrible. Anyway, but yeah, I don't know if whoever hasn't seen that scene, in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air when Will's dad comes back, and then Will's all excited, and he thinks he's gonna go back with his dad and leave to Philly or wherever it was,
Philadelphia.
Yeah,
born and raised.
Nice. And then you realize that his dad is leaving him again, and there's a scene with him and Uncle Phil. And he's just like, why doesn't he want me? And just like that scene was just like, oh my gosh.
It's a strong
That
scene.
might have been, I might have lied. I think that might have been the first time I really cried after Lion King. 'Cause I think Lion King was before that. But that was like the first time I was like, wow. And that,
powerful.
It's powerful. And I think when a comedy show is able to do that and does it well, that will really.
Yeah. Like Friends had a few episodes like that too, where it was like a serious side of things, and then it would end. You would see the created by, and you're like, "Whoa, wait, that's it!" Like, I didn't laugh at all. That was a very serious episode. But sometimes they have to bring you there to appreciate the characters.
I remember when, oh my gosh, 10 Ways of something. Dating My Teenage Daughter. What is the name of that show? When he actually dies
10
in real
Rules
life.
for Dating My Teenage
Daughter.
Yeah.
And they had that one episode. There was no laugh track or anything. And you're just like, whoa.
Yeah.
It opens with like he had a heart attack, and then like he was going to get milk.
Yeah.
And then they were like, the kid wanted to go get his breakfast, and then realized there was no milk, and then thought about his dad, and then like just threw everything.
Yeah. So
that was rough. That's what's weird is, like you said, as we're getting older. I'm glad you said that because I thought it was just me. I'm like, oh my god.
It's true.
Before it was like, oh, they built up this character that you really love, and then he dies and he sacrifices himself. Now it's becoming more just like, if I see like a nice display of like love or family,
exactly.
I'm just like, that's so.
Yeah. But it comes down to, you've experienced so much in your life that there's something in there that you're relating to, and I think that's exactly what it is. When you're a kid, you haven't gone through all these things, and now you're like, oh, I get this, and this makes me cry, and that's what it is. So I think I'm just gonna get worse and worse. I'm just gonna cry at every moment, at everything I watch.
This is the only episode that you're gonna see Brandon not cry. All future episodes, Brandon will be crying.
It's a podcast. I love you guys so much.
Okay, and so like when you guys are crying, what is your what's your policy? Do you try to hide it, or do you just like fully?
Nah, man.
Cry away. Don't be shy. Let it out.
It might depend who I'm with, but mostly I don't care.
Okay.
Like I haven't cried like I guess with a group of friends watching a movie. It's always been like with a girlfriend or by myself, or in a theater by myself. But I don't.
So you put on a front when you're with like a group of guy friends.
Maybe. I can't think because I haven't watched a movie with a bunch of guys where it was a movie that was super emotional and like
you don't
true,
really
you don't
like
you
don't
really
watch Seven.
Hey guys, let's go see the Notebook.
Exactly.
Come on, guys.
Oh, I did, but you know what? I did watch. I went to see a documentary once. I don't remember the name of it, but it was really messed up, and it was the first time I was with one friend of mine, and I turned over and we're in a theater and he's bawling.
What
and
movie?
I turned, it was a documentary. Oh. It was really messed up. It was about
Super Size Me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the way you just ate
Katy Perry movie.
He's so
much
sick.
McDonald's.
Like all that grease. but it was a documentary about it was actually pretty messed up about a serial killer and whatever, and it got very graphic. And they showed like photos and stuff, and it was about like what he did to one of the younger girls. Anyways, it was really messed up. But I remember feeling like, oh my gosh, I turned over and my friend is bawling. It was the first time I've ever seen him like just bawl like that, and it made me bawl. So that's the first time.
You cried because he cried.
I was already getting there, but I think I was like
he opened the
back.
gates.
I think I was holding back. Then I turned and I was like, "Oh, you're doing this too."
Did you guys did you acknowledge each other?
Yeah. We're crying.
I think we did like peripherals. We're just like, So I think it did happen. Yeah. So I guess there's no. I think I don't hold back. I don't think.
You don't hold it back either.
No. There's no
you
point.
Hold back. You seem like you do hold back.
I feel okay. Because I don't enjoy crying in movies. I do try to I try to keep it in. I do. Yeah. I fight it. I don't know why I do. Yeah. I just don't like getting to that point of vulnerability.
Yeah.
And sometimes now that I'm getting more emotional watching movies, I'll specifically avoid some movies sometimes because I'll put them off because I'm like, okay, I know that movie's obviously
make you cry.
Obviously it's gonna make me cry. So I don't feel like crying right now.
Yeah.
I'll watch a comedy or something.
You know what? I feel that too, but there's a part of me that I actually like crying during movies because I like getting to. I like the fact that a movie can bring me to a point of being super emotional. That it must have been a great movie. So I kind of enjoy it, but I do see that there's some movies that I see like you're gonna try to make me cry. I might not watch you today because I got shit to do.
Yeah, it's like do I have time to cry? I gotta invest in Kleenex.
But there's some movies where it's just like they're trying to make you cry.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work on me.
Yeah.
If I can see like something emotional and they did it well, cool. Mm-hmm. But otherwise there's some movies like those exact movies that you're talking about where it's like they're obviously trying to make you cry. If they're forcing it and I can see it, it's not happening.
That's it. There's some things that are like those cliche lines of like 1 year till retirement and okay, well that guy's gonna die. I'm not gonna cry about it.
It's like, I knew this was happening. You're dying. It's funny. We're talking about getting older and crying, and maybe because we've gone through experiences. But it's funny. My nephew, not too long ago, watched Tangled, and at the end of Tangled, which is funny, at the end of Tangled, the guy gets stabbed by like the witch or the girl's mother, whatever, and he dies. You guys ever seen Tangled?
No, it's on my list of Netflix.
Oh, Tangled's great.
Spoiler.
Shoot!
No,
sorry.
No, that's fine.
Anyways. There's more to it that happens anyways, but I watched my nephew watching that scene and he was crying.
Wow.
How old is he?
He at that point he must have been 4 or 5 and he was crying at like seeing this guy dying and I was like, "Oh my god, like you're way too emotional right now." At 5 years old.
That's my fear is like in 10 years am I just going to it's a diper commercial. I'm like,
"Hey Ryan, oh my I'm so glad
probably has a rash.
That baby looks uncomfortable." God, I hope I just like this is the level of like now I know how I feel when I watch a movie and I can make those choices of like, okay, I'm not gonna I don't feel like crying right now, like whatever.
We've plateaued, hopefully.
Yeah,
we've reached like the peak.
We're
gonna stay there.
Have you guys ever seen Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl?
Yeah.
No, I'm putting it off because I don't want to cry. It has the word dying in the title.
I know.
Obviously, I'm gonna.
It's a great movie.
But see, that one I didn't shed a tear.
I did.
It could also be like when you watch it, like what state you're in.
I think you have to be in the perfect state watching that too.
Because like if you're calm and relaxed and then watching it, then you can get emotional. But if you're just like, whatever, I got nothing to do, let me just watch this and see what's happening. And
but I think not everyone. Some people takes a lot for them to cry in movies, but for me, it's like if it's a good story and I'm really invested in the characters and something happens, like the movie scene at the end of Me, Earl and Don. Oh my gosh, that got to me so bad. And that was it.
It was well done.
I'm a baby. It was well done. I loved it, and they totally screw you in that movie. Anyway, no spoilers for Ryan. They totally screw you at the beginning.
It's a good film.
Yeah.
Well, let's say for someone like me who doesn't enjoy crying in movies, what are like the best cover-up strategies?
like how to hide it?
Like if you get a boner in a movie, you can put a pillow or something.
But also, if you have a pillow there, people know.
Yeah.
Like, hey, what are you trying to do?
Why'd you bring that to the movies?
Yeah. Where'd you hide that pillow? No.
I've done a couple of things.
Oh.
Yeah.
Go.
To hide?
To hide crying, you pretend like you're yawning. So you like but you're not weak. But like if there's a tear, like you're like
a yawn causes the eyes to water.
So you're like, and you're just like, or you pretend like you're sick. I think I've done the yawning before. Like I don't know who I was with, but I didn't want them to see me crying, so I was like, oh man,
this is such a boring movie. It's so boring.
I've done that. Yeah, I've done that.
That's a good one, actually.
I've done that. The yawn.
I think you have to get to it before an actual tear runs down your face.
Yeah.
Because once that tear falls down your cheek,
you're screwed.
The movie's gonna like hit the reflection, and you're gonna like it's there.
Glimmering.
So stop it before it even comes out.
It's like a cell phone. Everyone just like sees it. Like,
yes.
Yeah. So I mean,
you crying, bro?
But if you're also crying,
you could do like the classic, put your arm up and then like try to like tilt your tear duct towards us just to get it on your finger. I guess that would be one thing. But your eyes would still be watery no matter what. And the second you do that sudden movement, people are just gonna be like,
man, I've been in a situation where I was scared, but I wasn't crying, but there was something in my eye, but I was scared to like do the motion because I didn't want people to think that I was crying.
That's happened to me before, where I'm like, oh man, I have to put my finger up to my eye, and now people are gonna think I'm crying, and I was like, oh, let's just see. Look, oh, Sam, you're crying. I was like, no, I'm not.
I find like holding back tears, your throat does that like thing, like there's like a deep like guttural noise that like, you crying, bro? Here's a curveball just to wrap things up. If you were a filmmaker, we are kind of filmmakers, and your goal is to make someone cry in your movie, what would be your go-to trick to get that done?
Stab him in the gut.
Stab him in the gut?
Stab him in the gut. Stab him in the gut. No. You got to build up your scene. Yeah. You got to build up your characters and like really have someone get emotionally involved so that when that person is sad, the audience is feeling the exact same thing as that character.
I've been in that situation where I had to get an actress to an emotional state. And I think it's more about the actress and giving them that space to get there in the first place. I don't think you're going to be like, cry.
You're stupid. You're ugly.
Exactly. You have to kind of give them the space. And if they need help, your actress should be able, or actor should be able to get there. But you try to, talk about things that happened in their lives. Have you ever been in this moment or this situation? How did you feel in this situation? And try to bring them into that zone or into that space. But I mean, if your actors that you're working with is good, you give them that space. You let them take their time. I worked with an actress who like literally before the scene, she'd had to go away for like 20 minutes and sit by herself just to let herself get there. So I don't know. Yeah,
but you know what also helps? Like
you crying?
Quiet. I just yawned and now my eyes are watering.
Sounds legit.
Sure, Sam. Sure.
The calm, like the calm before the storm. Yeah. Like if someone's yelling and there's another person like being angry and whatever and sad, that won't get to me. But if there's like just quietness and whatnot, it lets me reflect and think. And example, Up, just music, like it was just a montage. Yeah. And amazing. That destroyed me. Like my 3D glasses, you just had a waterfall on either side coming down. It was no words, just music, and it was
that, like I said, a story well done. That's what it takes.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, good talk, guys. Wait, can you guys make yourselves cry on command? Like,
oh man,
I can.
This might take a while. I can't do that. It's just gonna be quiet.
For anyone who's just listening to the audio of this, we're all crying. We're all really good at it.
Yeah. Oh my God, Brandon, that's really good.
Yeah. I'm really. It's getting all over.
Glistening
my shirt.
like Robert Pattinson.
My shirt's all wet now.
All right. Thanks, guys, for watching. Hope you learned a lot about our fragile emotional states.
Oh my God.
The comment section be like, "You guys are pussies." Yeah, that was a good discussion. I feel like we all connected well.
Love that.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe to us if you haven't. We're Moving Mind Studio Facebook, Moving Mind on Twitter, Moving Mind Studio on Instagram, and leave us a comment. Let us know what movie made you cry.
Yeah, I want to know.
Yeah, there's other people there that cry.
Are you a baby like me? Do you cry all the time?
Are you a man? You a real man?
Sound like a father talking to his son.
You a man, don't cry.
You a man, don't cry.
No crying in
Don't
baseball.
cry out of here. All right.
Love you.
Love you too.